Yo, my Star Citizens and Noob Gamers. Welcome back to another episode of Star Citizen with me, Menix. And in today's episode, I'm going to be giving you 14 great tips. I think these are great tips for me and really do help me out in my Star Citizen gameplay. So hopefully they do for you. Hopefully you like this video, guys. If you do, don't forget to hit that punch and tickle that like button. Run the intro. About what to get through here, guys. The code dropping down is a code we picked at random from our comment section. If you want your code to show in the next video, then leave a comment if you subscribe to the channel and have your code in that comment, and we'll pick one at random again like we always do. And for anybody that's new to Star Citizen, if you use that code when you create an account with RSI, you will get 5,000 credits when you do buy the game in the end, and you'll push that person up in the rankings so they can get some goodies as well. Especially now with Invictus on, you can use this code for free fly as well, so you can get about a week of free fly on the game without having to buy the game itself. And yes, so use that code, guys, if you need to. And the names coming across the bottom, really do appreciate you guys. These are the members that have joined the YouTube membership and they pay a monthly subscription. It really does help us out, guys. Really do appreciate you guys. And also check out the description for the Discord link as well as the org link. We are trying to sort out more with the Discord and more with the org to get on to do more org gameplay. And I'm going to try and commit myself to doing a Friday night where I jump on with a few people from Discord and we just go on and play, no real plans, and just see what happens on the night. And so yeah, I'm going to be looking into that at the moment. So let's get into today's video, guys. 14 tips that I think are great. Nothing to do with people fighting. There's no fighting tips in here. It's just all about people that are doing industrial gameplay, cargo running or stuff like that, and just little tips for helping out while you're around the verse. So let's get into this. Right, guys, so this is going to be my tips here. These tips, like I said earlier, you're all right, Flower. These are tips for pretty much all players, but mainly newer players, because it just can help out. They're not going to be top 10 tips and stuff like that. They're just going to be tips that you might not have known about and just can help your daily life in the game. And so if you guys have got tips of your own, stick them in the comments, guys, and I'm sure people will appreciate that. Letting people see your tips and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these tips and hopefully you get something from it. So let's do this. So tip number one for me is going to be, when there's a new build of the game, always have your tool tips here and your tips here, because generally, once I've been playing the game for a while, I'll take them off because I pretty much already know what's being said here, the tips here, and the key structures of what I've built up. And so they just get in the way sometimes. So I tend to take them off. And to do that, you just come into your options here, and the same for turning them back on. And we'll just go here to the controller tips here. And if you take them off and the short hints and take that off and go back, you'll see now that those have gone from the edge here, and so it just makes it more visible in that area when you want to do that. But I would suggest having them on when there's a new build of the game, because in the latest build of the game, when I came on, there was a let me just put these back on. There was some keys that I didn't realize I could press, and so it was only when I put these back on, or I went to a different build of the game where it was on and I'd not sent my keys over, that I started seeing them. And one of them is for like this. So when I'm in here, I didn't realise I could press the root here by pressing R. And I didn't realise that because this was gone when I had the tooltips off. And so that's a really good tip. As well, if you zoom out, well, I'll show you this in a second when I'm in a ship, but when you zoom out of you're on the planet, when you go over a thing like this, where you need to set a route to, say we get somewhere we can set a route, it'll tell me they can't set a route because I'm not in a ship. So if I click that, I need a ship. But again, once you are in a ship, it'll tell you to press R. So you don't have to come off and go over to the button. You can just select it there and press R. And so that's my first tip here, guys. And I'm going to show you another tip with this map in a minute as well, once I get into my ship, and that'll be a different tip. So let me do that and show you the map itself when I'm inside this ship. So for the map here, again, like I was saying, by having your tooltips here, now if I was to hover over here, one of these places I wanted to go to, I can now see, you can see here now it's got press R. So even though I'm on it now, I can just press R and that will set that route for me. So by having these tooltips on, you can figure out better ways of doing stuff. So I'm going to cancel that one. The second tip I'm going to show you guys is inventory. It's not a tip, this is more of a don't worry about it type of thing. Now I've got so much armor and stuff like that that I don't really worry about it anymore. I see a lot of people freaking out over once they die, they'll either go back and they'll spend the rest of the session going back to get the gear they've lost or whatever. I don't worry about it unless I bought it from the shop. I know I'm going to get it back if I bought it with real money, but I don't actually really worry too much about it because I generally play the game in my white overalls most of the time. And you got to remember what the tips here that I'm giving are not for combat, and they're not for people going around doing bounty hunting where you're going to need your gear. My tips are more aimed at industrial players, so players that are just getting cargo and stuff like that. Now, I would suggest maybe do bring in a gun along with you if you need to and if you want to, some armor. But my suggestion is when you're first starting out, don't worry about it. Don't stress yourself out going to go and find your armor when you've lost it. Just get on and play the game, and it'll just be so much more enjoyable for you than keep worrying about having to go and get your armor. You'll always pick up armor, different types of armor, and so my suggestion is don't worry about it. So that's my tip number 2. Enjoy the game rather than worrying about your gear. A lot of the time people, they won't take the gear out because they don't want to lose it, and there's no point in having it if that's the case. But don't worry about it and just get on and play the game. I play most of the time in my white overalls, maybe stick a gun on my back. If I'm going somewhere where I think I might get shot by pirates, I might put a rail gun on, which is a gun for fighting ships or blowing ships out of the sky, and I maybe put that on my back instead. So that's my tip number 2. Another little bonus tip here, guys. When you come out of a lift, or when you're coming out to your spaceship, always have a look at your map up here. If your map is circular, you haven't got a helmet on. So make sure you put an helmet on, especially when you're at space stations. So make sure you get that helmet on, guys. Another thing with the inventory, when I was saying about not worrying about your inventory, is to get to this one and switch between the 2 different types of inventory. You've got this little button there, and so this is different, so you can add different things on here. Like you'll be able to add your attachments here and stuff like that, and your magazines, and then you can flip between what you've got added. So let me add some stuff on, like you know, some arms, and we can add arms on there, some legs, my helmet, and some armor. Let's custom that and go to armor. Cool. And there. And then I'll go backpack as well. Just so you can see this here. Backpack. So now I've got stuff on there. If you click this little cog here and that, it'll also show you your points where you can put stuff like your medical stuff and your ammo, stuff like that, putting on there. And to switch between, just click that or this here between the inventories. And so you can see now I've got different things that I can drop into my backpacks and stuff like that. And when you put consumables on, you can see where they are here as well. And then you can swap your view here to your armor itself and what you've got on. So again, that's your inventory stuff to do with your not worrying about your gear and stuff like that, and just how you navigate around that. So my tip number 3 is going to be when you come into a space station. Oh look, Invictus, it looks like the big ships are coming. When you come to a space station, if you're just fueling up or passing by or dropping a box off or something like that, then the best bet is to look for the landing pads rather than coming to these terminals here. Now, if I was to request my landing here, it should theoretically give me the one I'm looking at.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
but it hasn't. Which one has it, gimme? So it's gone over there. So that theory doesn't work anymore. You used to be able to just point at them and grab one. But my advice would be, on each of the space stations, is to find the landing pads, because it's just quicker to get on them, get rid of your boxes or fuel up or something like that. And unless you really want to put your ship away, that's what I would suggest, because you can't put your ships away on the pads. But what I would suggest is finding the landing pad areas, and from there then basically landing, doing what you need to do, and then get back out, and then you're not worrying about the hangars and stuff like that. So to find them, you just got to look around, and you'll generally see loads of ships nearby, and then you'll know then you're near the hangars. And so that's my tip number 3, guys, is to make sure, if you're just having a quick visit, or you just want to refuel or something like that, then the best bet is just going to go to these hangars or these platforms here. Like I said, you can't put your ship away on these, but you can land quick, and you can refuel and repair and stuff like that. So this is really good when you're doing things like the mining and stuff like that, when you want to just come down and go and sell your stuff and then get back out again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to land here, and then I should be able to access the refueling and stuff like that from there then. Best if I put my gear down. Oh, I don't even know if it's down now. No, it's not down. I did have it down. And that's that. So that's my tip number 3, guys. And then when I come into my thing here, I should be able then to access the landing stuff and being able to then refuel my hydrogen and stuff like that. So that's my tip for this one, guys. Quick in and out and refueling and stuff like that without having to get a landing bay. And like I said, the best way is to find where you've got loads of ships, and that's generally where they'll be. But I would go and try and find, each time you're at a station, try and find out where these are, and they're just quicker paths to land at. Sometimes you'll get two next to each other, so you'll get one here and another one next to it, and then the same on that side, one there and another one next to it. But I would go and try and find them all. There's generally 4 pads per space station. So that's tip number 3, guys. So for my tip number 4 is, when you're coming into land, have a key bind to set, like, maybe your doors open. Now this won't work with every ship, because some ships have multiple doors and you don't want them all open, but for smaller ships like this, it just saves a little bit of time by having your doors open. So if I'm coming into land, as I'm coming into land, I will tell my ship to open the doors and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to tell it, and that's what I'm going to do. Open doors. So that when I come into land, my doors are already open. Come and land, boom. Turn engines off.
Powering down system.
And I'm basically getting out my seat, and my doors are open basically, apart from this little one here. But my main door's open, and I don't have to go in and press it and worry about that. So for my tip 5, I'm going to suggest getting to know your keybinds, whether that's on your HOTAS, whether it's on a gamepad, whether it's on your keyboard and mouse, whether it's on your game glass, and whether it's on using Emily. Now, I personally use a gamepad, and I've set certain keys up for my gamepad, and because I'm using a gamepad, I can't do everything. So say if I'm in a fight or something like that, and I need to change my engine priorities and stuff like that, then I can use Emily to do that. So if I do that now, I'll show you on here, and if I go to my power, so I'll speak to Emily now, and you'll see power shields,
Maximizing shields.
power thrusters,
Maximizing engines.
and as you can see down at the triangle here, they get set for what you want. So if I do that again, power thrusters,
Maximizing engines.
and you can see it puts it reset power.
Power is
And I can do that
normalized.
with all sorts. So say when I land, if I tell my ship, if I tell Emily to turn my ship off, you'll see I've got a key command list where it goes through, and what it will do is it will turn my engines off and then set my power to my shields. And so if I do that now, turn engines off,
Powering
my engines was off, but if I turn my engines off and I say turn engines on,
Starting free flight protocols.
so you can see now that's reset my power back. So I've got not just my power set to my shields, but resets it. Turn engines off.
Powering down systems.
Offline.
And you can see there basically it's turn my engines off and set my power to my shields, so that if I am getting attacked anywhere, at least the priority is on my shields and it gives me time to get back to my ship. And that's done with Emily listing commands following one after another. And I could also maybe have my doors open at the same time and then get myself out of the seat. And another one I do use is the door open, close doors. As you see there. And then so I've got things like landing gear and stuff like that as well. So definitely use Emily. So let me bring that up for you guys so you can see it. So you can see Emily itself. So here's my Emily here. And what I've done is I've loaded my one. There is an official Emily one here that you can use. And like I say, they've got a loads of list of stuff in there that you can do. So if I was to design on that, hit design on that, you can see there's so many different things in here that they've got that you can use, like saving cameras and stuff like that, and then going into different vehicles, and there's a lot that you can do with it. So this is my Emily. I do have a video on Emily itself, and I'll link that up at the top now. So I'm going to go back to my one, my Star Citizen one, and load that. So that's my Emily, and I've set my own keys that I've done, like calling left, hiding the charts, power, like I said, power thrusters, request landing, requesting takeoff, stuff like that. So you'll hear me talk to my Emily as I'm doing this. So I'm going to move that back over. And here we go. Right, so let's do this. Turn engines on.
Starting pre-flight protocols.
Request takeoff.
All systems operations declared. Stand by.
Retract landing gear.
Retracting landing gear.
Thank you. And please visit again.
Nav mode. Cruise mode on. So for my tip number 6, once you've landed and you turn your engines off, or before you turn your engines off, I would suggest switching back into fight mode, or whichever the mode is that you've set it as a keybind, which is keeping hold of B. So I'm currently in nav mode, and as you see, I've got no shields. So if I'm sat somewhere that's not in an armistice zone, I definitely don't want that. So what I would do is switch also into my, what I call fight mode, and by keeping hold of B, or I will voice it, and that will then have my shields on. Fight mode. And as you can see there, then that's going to start putting my shields on, so that when I come out of my ship, turn engines off.
Powering down systems.
I've got my fight mode on, SAM guns, I've got a shield on, and my shield priority is full. So then when I get out my ship, I've got shields, and then if someone does start firing at my ship, not in an armistice zone obviously, but if I'm out of an armistice zone, at least I might have a little bit of a chance to get to my ship before it gets blown up. Whereas if you've got no shields, then that's not going to happen. So for my tip number 7, guys, this might be a weird one, but once I've got money and I'm not too worried about getting money, when I do come to outposts like this and I see things like this box here, I will loot the box, if it lets me, and you'll get this when you come to a loot box. So it's got one of these helmets in it. Now this helmet here is worth 7,000, or just short of 7,000 up at a space station. And so you can't move this across. What you need to do is hit this open inventory button here, and that'll open your inventory, and then into your local here. And I would just move all that into my local inventory. Now, unless I really need to go and sell this helmet or this gear here, or I need the gear itself, I'll just leave it there in the local. And what will happen then is, once there is an update and they reset your progress or they reset your character and you've got to start again from a planet, if they haven't wiped inventory or loot or items, like they didn't wipe the items, all they wiped was money this time. And so when they wiped the money and the items didn't get wiped, I came back into the game and I had something like 12 of those types of helmets. Let me just put that into the local. I had like 12 of these helmets. So you can imagine if I'm selling those, I've already got a nice chunk of seed money then for things like cargo and stuff like that. And I had loads of like white med guns and stuff like that as well. And so basically the tip number 7 here is when you're looting the boxes, unless you actually really need the stuff, just throw it over to your local and just leave it there basically if you don't need to move it. Because if you say you take this and you put it on your ship and then your ship blows up, you're going to lose it all anyway. So if you're just out and about doing stuff, my suggestion is just leave it in your local. Also, the other thing to that as well is, say you come to a place like this and they've got drinks here and you've moved them all over to your local. When you come here in an emergency and you're low on drink or whatever, and you've not got an helmet or something like that, you forgot something and you're over this way, you've got stuff here that you can maybe pick up. So again, that's another tip there. Another little tip here is, if you see these boxes here like this, please don't pick them up if they're not yours, because that's somebody's mission, and if I pick that up, it's going to destroy their mission. So please guys, if you do see these boxes, just leave them be. And so basically I'll just have loads of stuff in my inventory waiting. Now you see there I've got this personal one here, so if I stick that to my local, and I can just move that over to the local then from that side instead. And that's tip number 7, guys. So my tip number 8, guys, is to get myself a Pisces Red. Get yourself a Pisces Red. With this new update 3.2.3.1, they now allow you to respawn in med ships. And so a Pisces at 500,000 is a really good buy for doing box missions, doing bunkers, stuff like that. It also comes stocked with water, food and med pens and stuff like that. And so it's a really good thing for doing, especially if you go down to places like the new disrobe centers, where sometimes you might fall through the floor, or there might be places where you fall down some steps and die. And if you've already set your respawn point to your Pisces Red, then you'll spawn back in your ship as long as you're within 20 kilometers away from it. So I'm going to go over here. We're at Area 18, Astro Armada. We're going to come to here, and you'll see here it's at Anvil. And we're going to scroll down. I think it's down at the bottom. There we are. Anvil C8R Pisces Rescue, and it's just over 500,000. And I don't need to buy one because I've got one, but definitely if you can get one of these at some point, then definitely do that. And there's also the Nurser as well that you can get, the Ursa Rover. So that's my tip for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set your respawn point, and then how to use it and why it's good. So by having this ship, you can either lay down on the bed and do it, or you can come to this little device here, and if you click this, you can set your regen point here. So if I click that and I set my Anvil Pisces as my regen point, I can be within 20 kilometers of this when I die, and this is where I'll respawn. And the other thing you can do here as well is, if you suspect somebody's on your ship, or respawning on your ship, you can kick them off here. And this sort of says something like the Cutty Red or something like that, or the 890 or one of those types of ships, the bigger ships. And so that's that. Also with this, you get restocked fridge each time you call it. So you get so many bottles of water, I think 3 or 4 bottles of water. You get snack bars, you get the different med pens, you get some of the red med pens as well. You see there, you get some of the red med pens, and so yeah, you can just grab those and put them in your backpack or whatever, or you can just double click them and it'll add it to your thing. So if I press R on that, it'll just add it to my things. And you've also got storage here that everybody has access to, so you can put some storage stuff in here that everyone can access as well. So that's that. And this is why I think you need medical piracies. So with the piracies being your med bed, there's times where sometimes you'll come out of one of these places here. You'll come out, and as you run, you'll jump down these steps and it'll end up killing you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move all this over to my local here, just so that I don't lose it. And so say you come running down the steps, or you're in a bunker, or you in the distribution center lift and you fall through the lift or something like that. You fall through the floor. Say something like that happens and you die going down the steps and go face planting. By having the piracies, by doing these box missions or just exploration and stuff like that, you'll end up spawning inside your ship. And as you can see there, once I get out of here, and that's another good reason to have your inventory where it is as well, at the local. And so if I press I, you'll see in my local, I've got all my stuff that I can now put back on. And I like how that is giving me the suit as well. So when you die and you respawn, it gives you a suit as well. So that's good to know. And that's that, guys. So as you can see there, that's your piracies. So for my tip number 9, I would suggest if you're going to do box missions down at distribution centres, especially the bigger ones,
Hey there,
to get yourself...
Get on in here.
Ah, cheers, buddy. To get over to New Deal here at Hurston, on Lawville and Hurston,
Almost as good as I can.
and come over here and grab yourself a Drake Mule. Now, this will be... You're going to need a ship for this, so make sure you've got a ship that you can put this in. And it's only about 60,000, yeah, 68,000. I've already got one, so I don't need it. And what you can do is you can put the boxes, you can put 3 boxes this side and 3 boxes this side. And it's good for getting around the distribution centres, and I'll show you that in the next part in a minute. And you can just travel around the distribution centres, delivering the boxes.
We're all family here.
Especially when they have to go to security outposts. They're a little bit way out. They're about 2,000 kilometres away, something like that. So rather than going back to your ship with the box, it's easy to just have the mule running around with the mule, put them in the mule, and then grab the boxes you can, and then and just drive over there. So that's another tip there if you want to get those boxes or those box missions done really well. And it's only 68,000 for one of those.
Hey there, stranger.
So if you need to get out your mule, say you're going to a distribution centre and you need to get out your mule, this is where you can get them from. So you come to one of these places that's got one of these landing pad things here, the 2 small landing pads, and this is where you can get out your mule. You can also get them out on some planets as well, like Microtech. So basically you just go to this building here with the 2 things. It'll also, you'll see above it, it's got a blue like thing there. You see it blue on there. And what you're looking for in your map, you're going to look for places that have this thing here: the landing pad, vehicle services, commodity training, and there you go again. Let's have a look around. Any more that they've got? This one will have them as well. So that's what you're looking for, basically, those things. And what you'll do is you'll come into this building here with the blue thing on it, and you'll just get out your mule here. And what I'll do is I'll show you what we do with the Mule when we get to the distribution center. So what I would do is put this in one of my bigger ships like the C1 or something like that. Turn engines off.
Powering down system.
Engines off. So for my tip number 10, I'm going to say when you come, if you're doing trading, stock trading, stuff like that, then you need to use these two tools, these internet tools, which is UEX and SC Trade tools. So let me bring those up. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to bring these sites up so you can see them, just give a quick explanation of them, and then I'll put a link in the description. So here's UEX, and what we'll do is we'll click the trade and commodities. And what you can do is you can click the different trades and get information about them. So you can see like places where there's where you can buy them. So say if we was going to buy some laranite, see the places where you can buy it and whether to avoid it or it's a good place to get. So you got like the overview there. And then the best places to buy, so where you're going to get it the cheapest and the stock levels, and then where's the best place to sell here. So I'll say if we was going to buy laranite, the best place to buy is going to be 56 on ArtCorp, and then the best place to sell it is going to be Lawville at this time. And so that's that one, and that's where I get some of my trading routes from stuff I want to sell. And then we've got SC Trade tools here where we can click trade routes, pick your ship and how much you want to spend, and it will come up with some routes for you. But generally I'll use this to go and check on stock levels and how much I can sell. So say if I was going to buy med supplies, I'd go to med supplies here and hit submit, and then I can see where I can buy it, how much each place is selling, how many SCU they're selling, how much they're selling it for, and then here how much people will buy. So what their inventory stock is here. And so you can see most places will only buy a certain amount, like these places will only buy 50. The main stations like Area 18 will buy 500 and odd, but there's not a lot of places will sell a lot. Lawville will buy 800, but most of them are around 50 that you can sell. So I use this one for that, basically, is to look at stock levels and whether it's going to be best to go to a certain place to sell it because of how much stock they can buy or how much stock they can sell. And that's SC Trade Tools and a UEX. And that's my tip number 10. For my tip number 11, guys, what I'm going to suggest is using the text up here. So say if I wanted to go to Area 18, I just put Area 18. And I can just select that and then press R. It's obstructed at the moment, but once I'm up in the air, I can do that. It's just easier to select your locations by typing it up here rather than trying to search around on a map. So that's my tip 11, which is to search your locations here and then press R, and that'll lock it to you. When I'm up in the air, that will work. So let me go back to Hurston. There we are. And then if I put, say if I was to search something closer by, like Edmund, I'll put Edmund, because I know that's around here. So I've got Edmund there, click that, click R, and that'll set a route for me. There we are. And so that's tip 11, searching with that. Another good thing with this search as well is if you're using Emily, with the Emily plugin that they've got, the Star Citizen plugin that comes with Emily, you can actually get it to type in the text for you. And there is a video which I'll link into the description and put up at the top here now, and that will show you how to do this, where you can just talk to it and set that location with your voice. So again, that's using the search, which is going to be really, really good. So my tip number 12 here, guys, is as you see here, I've got a crime stat. Address these as soon as you can at these machines here. You'll find them at the airports and landing places. And my tip is to address them because they're on a time limit, and if you don't address them, they get larger and larger. So if I do this now, you'll see this will escalate in 6 days or whatever it is. I don't know what that is, but it's going to escalate and then it just keep getting higher and higher. So I'm going to pay this 20,000 here. You can just surrender if you want to and go to jail. I'd probably go to jail and get straight back out because it was just an armistice violation. But that was somebody shooting at us yesterday, and I think I went into somebody's ship. So nothing major really. So tip 12, address those fines when you can and don't let them mount up. So for tip 13, I would suggest renting ships. So if you want to have a nosy at what some ships might be like the Warden or the Titan, the Razors, the Andromeda, then I would suggest coming having a look and maybe renting a ship for a bit and just see how you get on with the ship. There's only certain ships that will be rentable. You can rent things like the Prospector over at the space stations where they've got a distribution center or they've got a cargo center or something like that. You can rent them from there as well, or you can go to the Lagrange points and rent them there. So that's number 13. So for my tip number 14, I'm going to suggest, so I'm coming into land here. If I take my landing gear down, I'm going to set that sets my speed at 30. Now, if I want to go a little bit faster because I've done it too soon, if I hit my boost, that'll just give me that little bit of boost of speed, and once I let go, it'll drop back down to 30. So that's that, basically. Just tip number 14, use your boost when you got your landing gear down and you'll get that little bit of boost. So guys, that's my 14 great tips. Well, I think they're great tips, and hopefully you get something out of that, guys. Maybe there's something you didn't know about or something that you didn't think about or even forgot about, and that will bring that up for you, and you can get easier days in your games online. So yeah, so we hope you like this video, guys. If you did, don't forget to take that pointer, tickle that like button for us, hit the bell and subscribe notification as always, and we'll see you guys at the verse.